And a happy new year to you all too. Happy 2025. I feel incredibly motivated to start turning words into actions. And we need to be very careful about this, of course, because we don't want our movement, our fledgling movement to be, nipped in the bud, as they say in English. So this guy says, I prefer a lower GDP if it meant a homogenous nation. Yeah, I've heard this sentiment before. Of course, I agree with it, but I've heard it from absolutely normie people who would say things like, I don't mind having less money or less wealth if we would have more social cohesion. So this is a white guy who told me this. He actually referred to the Muslim community in the country where I live in, saying, well, look at those Muslims. They have high social cohesion. And this is something that a lot of us feel is simply missing from our Western societies, right? And I was thinking about a way to do this. How might one actually deliberately lower GDP if in return we would get a more homogeneous nation with greater social cohesion, greater trust between people? And I think we have to look at the way we incentivize things. You've heard maybe the famous example of a Japanese physician who doesn't get paid when his patients are sick. The patients only pay him while and as long as they are healthy. And so it incentivizes the doctor to keep the patients healthy rather than prescribing your patient's drugs and operations. You see, if you are a surgeon in the USA, and if you can make money by recommending more surgery, more operations on your patients, well, then you're obviously going to recommend that. You obviously want to steer people toward doing more surgery because that's how you get paid. Or if you're a physician or so, and you get paid by recommending people take more pills and liquids and whatever, well, then obviously that's what you're going to recommend. Especially if the medication is very, very expensive. You're going to actually want to sell your patients the most expensive medicine they can afford, right? And this is why, of course, in the US, medical costs are so high and your medical insurance is so high because everybody working in the system, your doctors, your surgeons, your physicians, they all steer toward the most expensive treatments rather than the Japanese method of simply not getting paid when your patients are sick. What would happen in that situation? Are you going to sell your patients the most expensive medicine? Or are you actually going to just tell them what is the best way to heal? Maybe what you really need is more sunlight. Or maybe you're clearly depressed because of your work. You don't like your work. Then why don't you just go look for a new job? That's the medicine you need, right? And so the way you incentivize things in a society determines how the society operates. Because we like to believe that everybody is equal, but that doesn't mean everybody is equally honest or has the same humility, right? Lots of people are very low in honesty and humility. You're not going to get rid of them ever in a realistic system. So you have to take that into account, right? If you are a surgeon, you're in the Western world, you're not going to tell your patient, you shouldn't take that expensive operation because I don't want another yacht. No, surgeons, the surgeons that I know personally, they're the sort of people who want to have another yacht or another sailboat at the very least, right? So no, they're not. That doesn't work. We need a sort of autocrat who understands how this works and who is willing to have a look at the whole society, at the incentive systems that we've built, and start transforming them in a way where we bring about more desired behavior, such as more homogeneity in our societies, for example, by disincentivizing mass immigration. Because right now there's an incentive for mass immigration. Anybody who owns real estate loves immigration. Anybody who owns businesses loves immigration because you get both cheaper laborers, right? You can lower your cost of labor, and at the same time, you can rent out your real estate for ever higher prices due to the shortages in the housing market, right? It's a win-win situation to them, but it's a total loss to the rest of the population. And so we need to work on the incentives. But who will do it, right? We need leaders who are high in honesty and humility and who are willing to impose a whole new set of incentives onto our society. If you want to help our movement restore order, please consider a small donation to keep myself speaking on your behalf. Subscribe to my paid newsletter at jmk.info or send a donation to Buy Me Coffee at JohannesMK or try PayPal at jmkinfo.